Hey everybody, it's Dave Dugdale, learningdslrvideo.com. So I haven't had that much time with the LX100. Actually, I've had it for the last 30 days, but I've been working really hard on this for the last couple of months. My Panasonic GH4 course, it's about 5 hours long. It's on my site, it's ready for sale. You can go pick it up and start watching it now if you're interested. The LX100, this is not going to be like some 50-minute reviews like some of my others have been lately. It's going to be a lot shorter. If you want, Chris and Jordan over at the Camera Store, the Canadian guys, do a fantastic job reviewing this. They get into details, all the multi-aspect ratio stuff that I'm not going to cover here. So definitely check those guys out. I'll put a link kind of like right here if you're interested in that. So I already own two cameras. I own the Sony A7S, great for low light. GH4, nice lightweight camera. And then there's this one, the LX100. It's a nice lightweight camera, but where does it fit? The main reason I wanted to get this is I wanted to try it on a 3-axis pistol grip gimbal, which is actually coming in the next couple of days. So I have to send this back and that's coming. So the timing didn't work out, but this 3-axis gimbal with this camera I think would be a great combination. But fortunately, the Nebula 4000 Lite, which is what it's called, will actually fly a GH4 with a 12-35 from what I understand. Other people have done it. So I'm looking forward to that. And I would like to fly it with the Sony A7S with some sort of pancake lens, but Sony's been very slow at developing their FE lenses. And I wish Takina, Tamron, and Sigma would up their game and actually start making lenses for the A7S. So am I going to buy this camera? Unfortunately not. Even though I've got one shot with this camera that was just absolutely magical. It's one of my daughter, and I'm not going to actually show it, but the snow was falling. I was actually walking with the camera. It was just a slow motion shot that just came out so magical. I know I'm just going to keep that shot for years to come. It's fantastic. But the big drawback on this camera, from my standpoint, is it doesn't have any sort of mic input, which is a real bummer. I wish it did, because I would probably buy the camera. You know, in terms of like mounting this on a 3-axis gimbal, like pistol grip gimbal, I probably wouldn't need a mic input, but there's many times when I want to do a 2-camera shoot or something like that, and I want to match it up, because it does match up fairly well, as I'll show you here in a minute, with the GH4. I could have a 2-camera shot, but I'd like to have a mic input on this. So I was out in the mall in DC at the Smithsonian Institute, and I grabbed this shot, which is a raw picture, and I transformed it into this, which I thought was just utterly amazing. So you can really see the difference between before and after, and you can really pull a lot of information out of the raw file on this camera. Next up, I was interested in comparing the GH4 to the LX100. Here we are at 6400 ISO, and I wanted to see the difference between the two. And there is some subtle difference. Almost looks like the LX100 was like slightly cleaner, but the way it's blooming in the highlights on the actual white part of the candle is kind of different from what's going on with the GH4. But for the most part, these sensors are very comparable. I would say they're probably easy to match in post. Next up, I wanted to compare the GH4 to the LX100 in terms of detail. A lot of times I was going out there and I was using zebras at 105%, and I thought I would be matching them up. What I should have done was match them up to an 18% gray card for middle gray rather than doing it off the zebras, but there was quite a bit of difference in exposure. I'm not too sure why when using zebras that bring it down just off of clip out of 105. All right, here we are comparing the GH4 on the left, LX100 on the right, and as you can see, it's sliding to the right now, going past the rocks in the mountains. It almost looks like the LX100 has a little bit more contrast, and I don't know exactly why. It might be the lens on the camera, not too sure why. It was kind of hard to match these two, like I said before, in terms of exposure. I shouldn't have used zebras. I should have used the like 18% gray card. Now let's go ahead and zoom in on this, and you can see I've got the settings set exactly the same in terms of the highlight, shadow, curve, the -5 on the contrast. I've turned the saturation down a little bit. Sharpness is turned all the way down. So these are very similar settings, but it is a different sensor. And you can just see that there's just a little bit more contrast going on in the LX100 rather than the GH4. Again, it could be something to do with the processor, which I think is the same, or it could be actually the lens. So conclusion time. So who's this camera for? I'm not quite sure, since I wouldn't really recommend it for somebody who's just getting started, since there isn't any mic input. For people that might want to fly it on like a pistol grip 3-axis gimbal like I'm talking about, or a very small glide cam, might be great for vacations. That's definitely what it's great for. You know, when I was traveling around DC, it was definitely nice to have this and just put it in my pocket, you know, especially a winter pocket or a fall or spring jacket. But you know, summertime, it becomes much harder to carry this around if all you have is shorts and a t-shirt. So my conclusion is it's really a bummer there's no mic input. If there was, I think they'd sell probably a lot of these, but unfortunately there isn't. So that's pretty much it. And again, if you're interested, the GH4 course is available on my site. Definitely check it out. I'll put the link below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.